Hey everyone, welcome to the June edition of Community Call from ToolJet. I would like to thank each and every one of you for joining this call today. We do this monthly community calls mostly during the end of the month, and we discuss about what's going on in the community and what are the latest features and releases that we have on ToolJet. And in today's call also we'll be discussing about our first LTS release, and also we'll be building a reimbursement tracking application using OCR. So without any further ado, let's quickly jump onto the agenda of the call. So I'll be starting with the recent updates that we have, and then we'll be jumping on to the overview of the ToolJet's LTS version. Then we'll be building a reimbursement tracking application, and for that I'll be using the app builder. We'll be also creating AWS S3 queries to store the receipts, and then we'll be integrating Gemini API to process those receipts and extract the data from the receipt images, and we'll be using tooljet database to store the extracted uh, data from the images via Gemini APIs. And lastly, we'll be opening the floor for questions and discussions. So before I move forward, I would like to give a quick shout out to the community template contributors. I would like to thank Yashraj and Khalid for their amazing contribution to the templates. We are looking forward for more such contributions from the contributors. Coming to the recent updates for App Builder, we have component revamps to the components that I've mentioned in the slide. So that now you can like you'll be having more options to customize your components. You'll be having more options in properties and also in style, so that you can uh, add more customizations to all your components. On platform you have now a sample database, so that now you can connect your sample database to quickly test your application, or you can build some demo applications with the sample database. Coming to marketplace, we have 5 new plugins which we have introduced. Supabase, Salesforce, AWS Redshift, EngageSpot, and Pocketbase are some of the new plugins that have been added. Now you can connect your plugins and build application on top of these plugins as well. Coming to the ToolJet's first long-term support version, which has been released now, we are offering an extended period of support, which is 18 months. And here we are prioritizing on stability and security of your applications, unlike other releases that we have, which is more focused on feature releases and functionalities. And in LTS updates, we have introduced a new grid system which is more flexible and more seamless in terms of the experience that you get while using it. I'll be showing you the grid system as well, and also the other things that are mentioned over here. A new code hinter has been introduced, which is giving you a more information about the data that you're entering, and also it will give you a new user experience while entering your code in components and also in the queries and stuff. Let me quickly show you all these updates on the app builder. So this is the new app builder UI that I was talking about. You can see there are some new things on the canvas, and if you try to drag and drop a component, for example, if I drag and drop the table component, you'll be having a new seamless experience on the canvas while moving around your components. Or if you try to resize your components, you can see that there is a improvement in terms of accuracy that you have while resizing your components. You'll be having a experience similar to what you have in design tools like Figma, so that you can make your application with more accurate sizes and designs. So yeah, also I would like to show you a new code hinter. So I already have a query from the sample data source that I mentioned during the call. So if you just run this query, you'll see that we are getting the data. I want to show you this new code hinter. So if you go here and if you enter queries, you'll see there are improved suggestions, and also on left hand side you'll see uh, the values that you have from whatever you enter in the data section. So if you enter dot data, you can see the entire data list here in the small window. So there is an overall good experience while entering the data in the code hinter that you have here. So also while building applications here, you'll see major performance improvement from whatever versions we had before. Now before building the reimbursement tracking application, I would like to show you a quick demo of the app first. So this is the reimbursement tracking application that we're going to build today. Here we can drag and drop the receipts of the reimbursement, and then as soon as we hit submit, it will go to the Gemini API, it will extract the data, and then it will store it to the ToolJet database. And then we have an admin dashboard where you'll be able to see all the receipts and all the data which has been extracted with the help of Gemini API, and it will show up over here. You can accept, for example, it's in pending state. If I go and just reject this, it will refresh and it will reject the reimbursement receipt. Also, you can click on view receipt and it will show up the image of the receipt that is uploaded. Right. So this is how the application works, and this is what we are going to build in today's call. So I just have created a new application here, and I would like to start with changing the color of the canvas because the theme of the entire application is blue. So if you want to change the color of the canvas, you can go over here, and here there is a canvas background. Just click on it. Either you can enter your own hex code if you have, or you can change the color according to whatever it is there in the color palette. So I have my color with me, so I'll just change it to blue. Next we'll start with the container, so we'll be dragging and dropping a container here. Okay, let's resize it to this, and yeah, cool, this looks good. Let's keep it little here. Yeah, fine. Now I want to change the style of the container, so border radius can be 10, and I want to change the border color to light blue. I have my hex color with me, so I'll just put it here. Okay, I also want some some box shadow here, so I'll be putting the X to 4, Y to 6, and color I will be keeping the same whatever we had for the border. Okay, cool. Now let's add a divider here, so I can drag and drop the divider. Let's increase the size to full, and again the divider color will be the same. Okay, all right, cool, this looks nice. Let's add a text here now. So I have the text with me already, so I'll be putting that directly into the data. So it is file reimbursement. I want to change the styles for this, so I'll go to styles, and size should be around 18, and let's add the weight of bold. I can increase the width so it can show up. Yeah, here also I want to keep the color to little dark blue so that it matches the theme. Okay, so I'll be changing the color to blue. Yeah, this looks nice. Let me put this in the container. Cool. Now I also have to add a subheading here, so let me quickly drag and drop the text component. Again, let me add some data here. Should be this. Okay, I have the data with me, I'm just pasting it. The data is simply upload your receipt, and we will extract all the information, and the data is simply upload your receipt, and we will extract all the information needed to be submitted to your reimbursement. So this is what the content is. You can add anything that you want if you have if you want to update it according to your needs. Okay, so I'll be changing the text width a bit, so it is 2-liner. Okay, changing the color again to blue. It will be little light. Yeah, this looks good. Let me put this in the container now. Okay, awesome. Now let's add a file picker. Okay, if I drag and drop the file picker, we increase the width, increase the height as well, put it like this. Okay, we need a button here now, so we'll be putting button. This will be a submit button which will help us submit our receipts. So let me just put it submit, and yeah, cool. So this container is done. We are left with some components on left hand side, so we'll be dragging in, rather than me building the text component from scratch. I'll just copy and paste. And this is a really good thing about the ToolJet's app builder, that you can just copy and paste your components, and then you can modify it according to your needs later. So yeah. Okay, this will be a reimbursement tracker. I want to keep the size to 24, and let's increase the height now. All right, cool. This looks good. Now I want to add a icon here. So icon will be here, and let me change the icon to mobile, and I want to keep this. Okay, fine. All right, I also want the color to be same to what we have in heading, so I'll change the color to blue here as well. And subheading, again I want similar to what we have in the container, so I'll just copy it, and I will just change the content. I already have the content with me, so here it is. It's track your reimbursement with our easy to use one step solution is the subheading. Okay, cool. So this looks nice now. So now let's add queries and make this entire part of application functional first, and then we'll start building the admin dashboard and add queries there as well. So for this, I have divided the application queries into three parts. First is, on clicking the submit button, the file will go the image file will go to the Gemini API. So I need to create a Gemini API query first, and then the data that I get from Gemini API should be stored in the ToolJet database, and that is the reason I want to create the second query as the ToolJet database query. And then third is the AWS S3 query, which will help me submit the upload the image that I get from the file picker component. Okay, so these are the three queries, and then we'll be connecting them in a queue. Cool. So let's start with building the first one, that is the Gemini API query, and it is extract text from image. Okay, this will be a post query. Okay, and in URL you just need to add the uh, Gemini API URL endpoint. You can go to the documentation of Gemini API to know more about it and to explore around what are the other features and functionalities this APIs are providing. Cool. And in header I'll be adding the content type as application JSON. So let me just put the content type here, and value will be the application JSON. Okay, cool. In parameters I have to add key, and key is the uh, constants. So I already have my workspace constants with me, so you can create your workspace constants in the workspace. That is an option to create constants, and then you can utilize those constants in any of your application in that particular workspace. Okay, coming to the body, so this is something that you'll be able to get from the Gemini API documentation. So we have to provide a body in a particular structure in order to get the response from the endpoint. Okay, so I will be keeping it raw JSON, and this is the structure that we get. We need to provide. Here we add the prompt, and here we are sending the file picker image data. Okay, cool. So this is all what you need to do in order to create this API. Let's quickly test this application. Let me quickly add the food receipt to this, and if we add the food receipt, and then if we try to run this query, it should give us the response. Awesome. You can see that we got a response from the Gemini API, and the response is again in a particular structure. So that so we have to follow this structure in order to extract the final output, that is this JSON string. Okay, so we're getting the total amount and the date over here, and we'll be storing this two things in the ToolJet database. And for that, I guess we need to create a new database. And for that, we need to create a new ToolJet database in which we'll be storing this data. So now let's create a new database, that is requests. Okay, let me add the columns. First would be the name, second is email, then status, then we have total amount, and last is the date. It is receipt date. Okay, so these are the columns here. Now we can, let me just update the data types. So we are storing everything as string right now, so we'll be just keeping it like this, and let's create the table. Okay, awesome. So we have created the reimbursement request table, and we'll be utilizing this table to add the data which we get from the Gemini API. Let's create a new ToolJet database query, and it will be add receipt data. Okay, and here I will just select the table, and we want to create rows. Okay, and here we'll be adding the columns, name, then email, then status, receipt date, and total amount. Okay, for name I'll be getting the name from globals. So, okay, so you can add globals, current user, and first name, and similar to that we are getting email also from globals. Status will be keeping pending as the default, and for the receipt date and total amount, these are the two things that we are getting from the Gemini API. So I have to put them in a particular structure. I already have a snippet ready with me. So if you see, I have added a snippet, and you can see in code editor we are getting the value as well. So you have to put it in this particular format to get the data. Here we'll be adding total amount. Okay, and we are getting the amount here. Cool. So this is done. Now if you try to run this, it should store the data in the ToolJet database. Cool. So you're getting the data. So that is we have stored the information successfully, and now let's move forward. So the next query that we want to create is AWS S3 query, which will help us store the image to AWS S3. Okay, so we'll be creating a query to add image to S3. Okay, and we have to select upload object, and you have to create a bucket in order to add data to your S3. So I already have my bucket ready with me, and For keys, again, I'll be using the ToolJet database keys that I generate. So it will be similar to this. So you can see this is the key that will be adding. Content type and upload data. These are the two things I will be getting from the file picker component. So I'll be using type and data URL from these component directly. Okay, so I'll be just pasting it here. Encoding I'll be keeping as base 64. Alright, so I guess I've added all the information needed in order to create this query. Now if I quickly run this query, and you can see it is successful. We have stored the image successfully in the S3. Now the next step is to put these three queries in a queue, and it should run on clicking on submit button. So let's connect these queries, and then we'll add an action on the submit button. Firstly, let's add two event handlers here. First would be to show the success message of the query. So it will be text, or you can say data extracted from image. Okay, and next is to run the next query, that is add receive data. So we'll be running the next query here, receive data. Cool. In receive data also we are creating two queries again. First will be the success message. So you can go to success, and we'll be adding data saved. Okay, and next again we'll be running the next query, that is to store the image. We'll be running a query of add image to S3, and here we just need one event handler, that is to show the success message. So this will be a success, and it will be image saved. All right, cool. So we are done with connecting these queries. Now just add an event handler on the submit button, and it will be to run the query, and it will be extract image from text from image. Okay, also on loading state we want to till the time all these queries are running, we want to show a loader on the submit button. So we'll be adding queries dot extract image, and then is loading. Okay, so let me use OR operator here, and that will help me to run the loading till the time all the three queries are executed. Second is add receive data, and third is add image to S3. Alright, so these three things are done, and now let's quickly test it once, so that you know so now let's quickly test all the three queries again. We'll be selecting a food receipt, and as soon as you click submit, it should run all the three queries in a queue. And all right, so you can see that all the three queries ran successfully, and everything is working fine till now. So now let's quickly start building the admin dashboard UI. For that you need to create a new page. You can go to pages and then add admin dashboard. Okay, and here I need to add a table first. So I'll be dragging and dropping a table, and yeah, this looks good. In table we'll be adding three action buttons for accept, reject, and view receipt actions. So let's quickly add the action buttons. First is let me add action buttons first, and yeah, first will be I'll be adding an emoji over here. Okay, so for adding emoji you can just right click and select emoji. background color should be green. Okay, I want to keep it little light. Let's keep the dark green only. Okay. Then in second I'll be adding capital X, and it will be of little light red color. Okay, cool. And last will be the view receipt button, so we'll be adding view receipt here. All right. So yeah, I guess we are done with creating action buttons. We want to make this we want to add a border radius to these so it looks little nicer. So yeah, cool. So we're done with building a table, and we just need a title over here, or the heading. Okay, so for that I will go to pages. I will just copy this and will be pasting it here. Okay, so there we go. Okay, let's keep it here. Yeah, here also I need a icon, so I'll be just dragging and dropping an icon. Let me resize it here, and let's change the size here to 20, and then we just need a color, and I will change the color of an icon to whatever we have in the title. And last is just to change this to this icon. Okay, all right, so we're done with the UI of this particular admin dashboard. The next thing that we want to do is just add queries and make this admin dashboard functional. Here also we'll be adding multiple queries. The first query would be to get the data in the table. For that we will create a ToolJet database query that will be get receipt data, and let's select the table. Operation will be list rows, and make sure you add a sort by ID, so that whenever you update in ascending order, so whenever you update the table, the sort would be the similar which you had before the update. All right, let's quickly run this query, and we're getting the data. Cool. And let's connect this now to the table. It will be queries dot get receipt data dot data. Okay, and there we go. You can see that we got the entries that we had. We do not want ID here, so you can make it, you can delete it, or you can change the visibility to none. All right, now we want to add actions. So for that we need to create 3 queries. First is to accept, second is to reject, and third is to view. All right, the first two will be the ToolJet database queries. So it will be approve request. Okay, and here we will be selecting the table as this, and we are updating a row, and we want to select the ID to be equal to the components dot table dot selected row dot id. All right, so this is done, and the column that we want to update is the status. It should be approved, and when this is successful we want to do two things. We want to first refresh the data, so I'll be running the get receipt data query, and then we also want to show a snack bar. So for that we will be adding a success message of receipt or request approved. Okay, I also have to change this to reimbursement requests. Okay, fine. This again I will change to request approved. Okay, cool. So request approved, and when we click on this should work, right? So for this action button, let's add an event handler to run a query, and it should be approve request. Let's test this out first. So let's test on last one. So if I click on it, it should refetch the data and it is approved. Cool, this is working, but as you must have seen that the table was blank for a while till the time we are refetching the data. So that was not looking so good. So let's quickly add a uh, loading state over here. So we'll be adding queries dot get receive data dot is loading. All right, so whenever we are refetching the data, it will just reload. It will show the loading state on the table. Now we need to create a similar type of query for reject. So I'll just duplicate this, and here we just need to make few changes. uh, First is to make this as rejected, and on snack bar as well it should be request rejected. Okay, now let's change the name to reject request. All right, and now we have to add it to the action button. Okay, for that let's go to the action button, add an event handler, and let's keep it to run query, and the query is reject request. Cool. Now when we click on, let's say, the first one, uh, it will refresh the data and it should show request rejected and status has been updated. All right, so this is working fine. Now the only thing we are left with is the view received. So for that we need a modal to be integrated. So we'll be dragging and dropping a modal here, and we do not want a trigger button, and we want to trigger the modal from action buttons. So we go to action buttons, and here let's add event to just control component. You can also go directly to the show modal, but this is the way I prefer to work around. So modal open. Cool, so this is done. Let's quickly try to click on it and it should open in modal. All right, let's modify the modal a bit. Let's change this to receive image. Okay, and we want to make it little small, and here also we want to add a image, so we'll be adding an image component. All right, and let's increase the size to this. All right, cool. Now in query manager, let's add an S3 query to get the image. It will be get image from S3. Operation would be to list, sorry, we want a download URL, so it will be signed URL for download. Bucket, again you need to add the same bucket name that you had while uploading it. So I will be keeping the bucket name as reimbursement tracker, and in key, again it should be the key that you had while submitting the S3 image object. So we'll be keeping it to whatever the ID is while you select the action for that particular row. And yeah, this should work. Now let me try to run this, and I got the URL. All right, let's add the URL to the image component. Now it should be queries dot get image from S3 dot data dot URL. Okay, cool. Yeah, so we got the image, and also we want to load. So till the time the image has been, like, the query has been running, we want to show a loading state. So I will be putting is loading here as well, so that uh, it will show a loading till the time the query is loaded. Let's connect this to the query as well. So we have to add one more query here, so that whenever I click on view receipt, it will load this query, and then it will show up in the image component. So we want to run a query, and it should be get image from S3, and we want to prioritize this here, so we'll be keeping it here. So we are done with most of the things. The last thing is, whenever we whenever we load this page, we want to refetch the data in the table so that we get the updated data. So here we'll be adding an event of on page load, and it should run a query, and it should be get received data. All right, cool. Let's test with a different receipt now, so that we can check if it is working fine or not. And we'll be selecting a new image this time, which will be receipt 2, and let me quickly submit this. So first, second, and third query is successful now. Let's check out the admin dashboard. It should have 3 entries now. Awesome. We can see 3 entries, and the total amount and received date are also different. So if I click on view received, it should load the new image receipt, and yeah, here we go. So we got the new receipt, and yeah, we have successfully built the entire application from scratch. And this is how this application works, and this is how you can build it from scratch. So if you have any questions, queries, you can drop in the chat and we can discuss around. Since there are no questions, we'll be closing the call. Thank you so much everyone for joining this call, and feel free to reach out to us on our Slack channel in case of any other queries. You can check out our blogs on blogs.tooljet.com, and recording for this particular video will be available on our YouTube channel, so make sure to check out our YouTube channel as well. And yeah, see you all in the next call.